Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leon. I'm the Business and IP Advisor here at Nottinghamshire, the BIPC Nottinghamshire. And today we're going to be covering an introduction to our databases and what we have on offer. So firstly, just to sort of give the little bit of an introduction for every bright idea everywhere. So just to clarify that really, the libraries have become a space, especially in Nottinghamshire, where it's always encouraged to sort of help you and support you when you're looking to start your own businesses. So today we're going to be covering a bit of an introduction in terms of what we have on offer, and one of those offerings is our databases. So as you'll see on screen here very briefly, it's an introduction to the databases. Now, these databases cover a variation of different tools you can utilize to help you when you are running a business or if you're in the very early stages of starting up as well. So there is a total of 9 databases that we offer, and the first one that you'll see on there is BSOL. That's the British Standards Online, and then there's also a local data company, IBIS World, Kompass, COBRA, Grantfinder, Statista, Market IQ, and Euromonitor, which is Passport. So we're all breaking these down. So first, let's kick off here. So sort of a database overview for you. Now, you may recognize some of these databases. And again, there's a total of 9 that we do offer, which fall under 3 categories, which is advice and funding sources. So that's COBRA, Grantfinder, British Standards. And then we also have our market research. So that's local data online, IBIS World, Euromonitor, and Statista. And then finally, we have our company data and information. And that covers Kompass and Experian Market IQ. Now, again, we've sort of subcategorized those 3 to give you a better insight on how to utilize these resources. So you can have that quick keyword association with them. So again, advice and funding services. So if we're looking at funding sources, that will primarily be your Grantfinder. And then obviously for advice and information, you're looking at COBRA and British Standards. British Standards itself, we'll cover that very shortly, is a database that not many people utilize, but it's used more so for those that want to follow a certain ISO and such, and we'll touch that basis very shortly. So moving on quickly here, the first one we're going to highlight really for everyone is COBRA. Now, COBRA stands for Complete Business Reference Advisor, and it's ideal for the next following 3 things. So considering self-employment, so if you're in the very early stages and thinking of starting your own business or just going to completely self-employed, it's a fantastic tool to utilize. Also, we will recommend it for a lot of businesses that are just starting up and even just running a business as well. So it's a very useful tool that I pretty much class as the handbook to running a business. It helps anyone in different stages of their business, from understanding bits of legislation down through to understanding your business down to a nutshell in terms of the very granular detail of what you may be looking at with your business. You know, for example, we could say you're a candlestick maker, for example. Okay, what businesses can I run from making candles? And it will give you that information. Now, COBRA offers up to 600 plus business sectors and types, and they're commonly known as BOPs, which is business opportunity profiles. And they also provide fact sheets for practicalities on running a business, and they'll be sort of categorized as BIS as the acronym. Now, this database can be accessed remotely, and it can also be accessed within the libraries as well. All you actually need for access on this database is a library card. And again, you can access that from home, or you can access it from a local library as well. The next one to really talk about here is IBIS World. Now, IBIS World is a market research tool, and it provides market reports. So it provides in-depth market reports on over 450 different main industries in the UK, plus a further list of specialized industries. Now, something that this does is it becomes very time consuming when you're reading reports, specifically when you're looking at market research. But it's a very important part of anyone when they run anything that anyone's running when they're running a business, because you need to understand your market, you need to understand your customers, you need to understand how much money is in your particular industry and what's available to be captured on a smaller scale while you're continuing to grow your business. And it's very good in the way it breaks this down. So it actually has, as you'll see on screen here, it says iExpert that condenses industry reports into bite-sized formats. Now, when you go into IBIS World, what you'll first see is you'll see a breakdown on the left side, and you'll see like what looks like a little light bulb. And that's the iExpert button. And that condenses these down into really simplified and understandable chunks of information to graphs, graphic overlays, or just subsectoring down a report, because reports can be quite heavy, word heavy. So it just breaks it down and makes it more readable, and you can quickly navigate that via that as well. Something that IBIS World also offers is it provides COVID-19 and Brexit impact tools to show how vulnerable sectors are. So what I mean by that is, for example, we know that COVID affected a lot of different businesses in different ways, and so did Brexit. Now, what they'll actually do is they'll actually identify how COVID or Brexit has impacted the particular industry. So let's say if we're looking at coffee, we'll see how it's affected importing, for example, or just annual spend, because obviously no one could go out to coffee shops when it was in lockdown and such. So we'll actually show you how those implications affect your industry as well. And again, all our databases, which you'll see as we go through this, are all available in our BIPC local sites. So those 4 local sites, which I will reference at the end as well, are Bulwell, Beeston, Sutton Ashfield, and Mansfield libraries. Now, moving on, this is a really interesting database itself. So this one's called Local Data Online. Now, Local Data Online is an insight platform that provides access to data, trends, analysis on over 680,000 retail and leisure premises across the UK. And it allows you to track brand locations, analyze store portfolios, identify new locations, understand markets, identify investments, opportunities, and risk. Now, this one's a view-only platform, and it's only available in those 4 sites I've mentioned previously. Now, with Local Data Online, it's a really useful tool to utilize understanding your local market. So, for example, we'll use the coffee scenario again. Let's say you're a coffee shop that wants to open in a local area. With Local Data Online, you can actually key in a target area where you're thinking about opening a coffee shop. It'll tell you how many vacant premises are in the area, what's the sort of open and closure rate. So that'll give you an indication of how well the area is in economic sense in terms of how much money is being utilized on the high street. But you can also use it to analyze competition. So you actually be able to see how many other local coffee shops are in the area. So it helps you understand what the local competition will be for you as well. So the next one we have here is Experian Market IQ. So many of you may recognize Experian as for many different things that they do. Now, the first thing we have here is with Market IQ, it provides a company directory of UK businesses. So you may, when you use this, you may recognize some similarities between this and Companies House. The best way to really explain it in a really easy summary is that it's take Companies House and make it a much easier and interactive station or platform to utilize to find you the correct information about companies, essentially. So Market IQ provides a company directory of UK businesses, but it gives an insight into business financial stability and payment profile. So it enables businesses to be better informed and confident in decisions to work with, partner, or sell to other companies. Now, to sort of highlight a little bit more on that, let's say, for example, you're a company that provides plastic and you want to speak to manufacturers that will utilize your plastic to make packaging. One of the key issues you have when you're a small business is having that funding to turn over. And if you're leaving a lot of money in, let's say you purchase a number of plastics and then you've set them to a manufacturer, is when that manufacturer is going to pay you. Well, what Market IQ actually provide for you is their sort of payment profile. So for example, it will tell you what their usual payment terms are in terms of what scale they're going to pay you. So is it 90 days till you get payment? Is it 60 days, 30 days or longer? It will also give that information and also show you how financially stable the companies are that you're looking to work with, to see if they, if are they on decline, are they on incline. It'll provide you a really easy summary of identifying how that looks for you. So it's very useful to understand your partners and suppliers when you're working through as a business. So the next one we have here is Kompass. Now, Kompass Easy Business contains detailed profiles of more than 53 million companies in 70 plus countries. It's a lot of information, but it allows for searches by location, company size, products, and services to find detailed company profiles. Now, this will actually help you, depending on the type of industry you're in, create and find business leads and contacts, and it will help you create sales and marketing lists. So again, we'll use the concept of saying you are someone who provides plastic to packaging manufacturers. Well, with Kompass Easy Business, you'd be able to actually utilize that in searching for packaging manufacturers, and it'll provide you with the details of who they are, where they're based, and who to contact to speak to them about them purchasing your plastics to use in their packaging. So it's a really useful tool to help you create your own sort of business leads and sales and marketing, as it says on screen there for you as well. And again, this is view only, and it's accessed remotely via, it can be accessed remotely, but that's, again, it's usually via a one-to-one with one of the business advisors. Alternatively, you can access its site. And in terms of actually downloading the contact information, it will be requested from the library staff or a member of the team as well, one of the BIPC advisors. So next we have Euromonitor. So Euromonitor Passport provides international market intelligence on countries, consumers, and industries. Now, businesses can identify and understand market opportunities, consumer behaviors, challenges, and target markets through reports and dashboards. So to really simplify this one for yourselves more, is it helps you, very similar to what we mentioned earlier with IBIS World. This will actually provide you with a bit more in terms of consumer behaviors. And that's really important depending on the type of business you have. So again, we'll use the coffee analogy here. So if you're a coffee shop, you want to know what the average spend of each household is on coffee. So you need to understand, what's the average spend of a household spending on coffee, who's got the largest share of the market in the UK, or if you're importing and exporting coffee. So it can really help you identify the challenges in the markets, but it'll provide you sort of a really thorough report and dashboard that you can utilize to help you make those informed decisions. And again, that's really key when you're starting your own business or you work in a particular industry, is to understand how differences can help you, basically get a step above the rest in the competition market, really. So again, utilizing stuff like Euromonitor would really help you set a precedent of how you want to move forward with your business. And again, this is available at all the BIPC local sites. So again, that's Beeston, Sutton, Nashfield, Mansfield, and Bulwell. And again, when it comes to pulling the full data from these reports, you will be required to contacting one of the advisors, which you can contact us via the email you see on screen here, which is bipc@nottinghamcity.gov.uk. So you can access this on the site. The library staff can also help you pull information. However, if it's a full industry report, it will require one of the advisors to help you do that. So next on the list, we have Statista. So there's quite a few databases we're going through, as we've mentioned. There's 9 that we're going through today. So Statista analyzes markets across 150 countries. And provides full reports on various industries and sectors. Now, it does condense data from the global consumer surveys into usable charts to help identify consumer behaviors and interaction with brands. Now, to simplify that really for you, again, it's market research, right? So again, as you can probably see on screen there, you've a bit of a snippet of it. You've got food in retail industry and food reports. Now, what these will actually help you provide when you're looking at your own business and running it and looking at industry reports is they condense this information down. So when you're building your business plan, for example, and you're looking at trying to find funding or going to a bank to find funding, you'll need to provide some information around your industry, and it helps you understand what that is. So utilizing the information you get from the industry, from these reports, you can actually help it create yourself a SWOT analysis, which is a common term that you'll find when you're doing business applications for loans from banks. But in general, it just gives you a lot more information when you are looking at your industry, and it provides you with granular detail that is really important when you are running your business to understand what's happening in the industry and who's the biggest players in that industry. So again, it will break that down. You can provide, just go to infographics, you can go through just the general statistics. Again, they condense that information down. So when you are looking at a certain report, you can utilize that and break down just the key areas you need to look at instead of going for a full report as well. And again, that's accessible at the local libraries. There is certain usage limits with it. So in-depth reports can be downloaded by the advisor. So if there's a full report you require, you will need to contact one of the advisors, or one of the library staff would actually be able to help you do that as well. As I mentioned earlier on, another one we have is British Standards Online. Now, firstly, the British Standards Online that we provide is viewer only online. So you will need to be on the local sites to access this. But British standards are created by industry experts and represent agreed best practice and standards to provide reassurance to consumers that a product or service will meet the correct criteria. Now, a really easy and simple way to sort of help you understand how that comes into play is if you look at how a car seat is made for a child, there'll be certain criteria and certain measurements, certain upholstery or a certain style or way that that's actually created and manufactured, that if it follows the British Standards Online, and that will be classed as what's classed as an ISO, which is a certification you can get when you're following a certain procedure with British Standards, that just provides a sort of that quality assurance. So if you're in that industry where you're creating or manufacturing products, or for example, you can even look at management, you see on screen there, because of variation of different sort of modules you can follow. So we can look at management, law, science, healthcare, environment, waste, etc. It provides you with a set guideline to follow. And if you follow that guideline and you get accredited, it means that any products you provide will then follow that suit. So it allows you to have that sort of element of having confidence from the consumer side of things, saying that we follow this criteria to make sure that our products or services are guaranteed to fulfill a certain level and requirement that's been set as a standard, essentially. And again, there's no reports that can download. It is a view-only accessible through the local libraries, such as Beeston, Bulwell, Sutton Ashfield and Mansfield. Last but not least on there for yourselves is Grantfinder. Now, Grantfinder is a leading funding database in the UK, and it covers local, national and international sources of funding. So with this one, it's not just open regularly to anyone within libraries. And again, you'll need to consult a BIPC advisor, will help you refine the search relevant funding. Now, that's because there's certain criteria you have to fulfill in here when we are looking to perform a search with yourselves. But you can book it a one-to-one via email or via our booking page on our website to book you into a one-to-one. Now, Grantfinder provides really in-depth information in terms of every type of funding or award that's available in the UK. But the criteria is we have to look at, what type of business you are, what industry you're working in, what services do you provide or products do you provide, and in what format. So it's a very granular detail that we need to, hence why we tend to do these with one-to-ones with a lot of customers that are looking at finding funding options through grants and award schemes. Essentially, there's a lot of granular detail that we will need to help you provide that. But again, it will give you all the information when you are looking at these on here, provide you all the information of what the grant is, who it's provided by, what source of funding is available, is there a limit on the amount of funding, what criteria you have to meet to hit the funding, and how you apply for that. So it provides all the details you need to help you apply for the actual funding itself as well. Just make sure we can see the screen here. So just a second. So as you can see on the screen here, you will see that we have COBRA at the moment. So when you first come onto COBRA and you're looking at that particular screen, you'll see on this top right corner, we'll have the log out button where it is. But usually when you click on there, it'll just ask you to log in. And all you need to do is use your library card to log in on that particular screen. So it'll just be your library card number that you pop in there. And once you go in, it will show you the exact same screen that we have on here. So as I mentioned before, there is a variation of all the different side elements in terms of the industries and such that they have, so how you can navigate through the actual platform. But I'm not going to go into too depth on all of them because we'll be here all day otherwise, and I can talk quite a lot. So that's what will be happening. So just to go through, the very first one that's really important to a lot of new businesses and a lot of people is business opportunity profiles. So if we click on business opportunity profiles here, come up. So what you'll see is it will provide sort of an A to Z. So we can do an A to Z search in terms of navigating through, and there's a whole host. Again, there's over 600 profiles of what will be available. But again, we can go as simple as, you'll see there's someone here. So we'll use Candle, for example. So if we pop in Candle here, what will happen on the search element here is it will then generate various profiles you can look at. So what you will see here is you'll have SOUs, which are sector update opportunities and profiles. And then if you see anything that says MBP, that's basically a mini business profile. And then you'll see BOPs, which are business opportunity profiles. So the difference between the two of them is that, for example, we'll click on this one and give you an example. This class is a mini business opportunity profile. So they'll still have information available in the terms of what that type of business is, but it's because they've not fully updated just yet. So you can see this was actually added in April when they actually added this in. So they'll be adding more to it, and eventually it'll then be fully listed as a business, just a normal BOP, once they've had more information to it. But again, just to give you a brief overview, it'll provide you with an introduction of what that actual business looks like and what it is, any trading issues that come with that. So you may be looking at, some candles can create personalized candles with messages, and there's a variation of what it'll give you in terms of what you can look at to utilize. But also it'll also provide you with information. So production of candles on small scale can be carried out by using ordinary kitchen equipment and using a double boiler, cost around £30. But it'll give you an potential information in terms of what it's going to cost you depending on what scalability you're looking at. And then also on these, it'll provide you, information in terms of where to get your equipment, where to get your supplies, what's the costings, if there's any qualifications required, where to get those qualifications if they are. And they also provide sort of useful resources. So, for example, it gives you a link directly to the British Candle Makers Federation. So it's a membership organization that supports manufacturers and suppliers, crafts councils and such. So that's what a mini business profile looks like. So if we go back here and we go and craft supplies retailer, this is what we class as a full business opportunity profile. Now, this will provide you with full information. So again, as I mentioned earlier, when you go into something that is classed as a fully fledged business opportunity profile, it will say there's certain qualifications, and it will give you an indication of where to find those qualifications. Usually, if they can, they'll showcase the cost as well. As you can see, there's quite a variation of them as well. And then again, it also talks about taking on retail apprentices. So COBRA really dives deep into terms of a business. So we're not just looking at just the industry and the type of, what the business is. We're also looking at sector awareness. Is the apprenticeships available in that industry? What key market issues is there that you can utilize and understand when you're in that business? Trading, commercial, legal issues. So COVID-19 restrictions. If you're looking at a premises, what's the premises business rates and the usual costs, and where you can look at those as well. If you're then looking at shop fittings and fixtures, premises security, signage, sourcing stock, becoming approved stockist, applying for trade accounts, trading from local markets, providing obviously e-commerce. So if you're looking at setting up a website and selling through that, selling through online marketplace, this is a whole new section they've just recently added because they've been doing more on eBay, Amazon, Etsy, and Folksy, which are various platforms for selling. So that's something I know they've been recently adding to a lot of the opportunity profiles. If you do have a shop and you want to play music, you need music licensing. So it goes on and on and on, and we could be here all day talking about it, but it's a very useful tool to help you understand your business at a very granular detail, so you understand what you need to know and to make sure that you're making the best informed decision you possibly can. Now, that's just in terms of the profiles of the particular businesses. Again, as I mentioned, there's quite a variation in terms of a breakdown of what's available. But one of them, for example, if we look at business information fact sheets, which is quite a common thing for various different businesses. So again, this covers different things. So leave requirements for business websites, understanding debt finance, employee share scheme, if that's something you wanted to do, employing part-time workers, relief schemes, business rates, managed workspaces. There's a whole array of just different business information fact sheets. For example, pay as you earn. So when you need to do PAYE for variation, if you're paying or hiring other people, and it provides you with all that information of what you need to know and where to go for that. So that's kind of just a very brief overview. One other area to really touch on is the business legal library. And this, again, it has its subcategories. But for example, if we just went through company law, and it will tell you what company law is available, so Companies Act and such like that. It really breaks down everything. This is hence why I refer to it as the company's handbook, because it becomes your business owner's best friend. It gives you everything you need to know at a very quick hands-on approach. And if there's something on here that you can't find, then you can contact us directly. We'll help you find it. So there's no issues there at all. But that's kind of it for ourselves for today in terms of looking through the databases. And just thank you to everyone that's been here and attended. And if there's anything else we can do to help, please feel free to reach out. There's various ways to contact us.